Well, for the 98th time, it's Notre Dame and Navy on the football field tonight in Notre Dame Stadium. I'm Tim Prister with Tim O'Malley and John Brice, and this is Irish Illustrated's Instant Analysis, brought to you by the RVMH Hall of Fame in the Northern Indiana Event Center in Elkhart, Indiana. 98 times, an incredible amount of football games between these two schools. Notre Dame has clearly dominated the series, 83-13-1. And yet every time I watch one of these games, I get that feeling in my stomach that something bad can happen. And it certainly can when you're playing a team as scrappy and determined as the Naval Academy.
Well, the key to beating Navy, we always talk about defending some type of option, but really the key is to just keep scoring on them, because then they can't keep up. And when Notre Dame wins, they generally score a lot of points. When they win close, the point total is a little bit lower, and when they lose, the point total is things like 17 and 24, which represent the last two losses, and even the Charlie Weiss era, it was 21. When Notre Dame can get to 38, 40 points, it's just hard for Navy to keep that up, because you got to remember, Notre Dame's defense is well-schooled, and they are simply much better athletes than Navy. So you give up one or two because you can't avoid it against Navy. You don't have to give up 4 touchdowns.
Well, speaking of scoring's obviously very important. The last 4 games, Notre Dame has not reached 40 points in a game. The last time that happened during the regular season was 2019. So we're anticipating, John, Notre Dame scoring a lot of points, and it may be that kind of night.
Yeah, and Notre Dame needs to score a lot of points and score a lot of points early to put all the pressure on the Navy offense. As much as T.O. makes a great point about Notre Dame feeling like it has to score every time, once Navy falls behind 14, 17 points, even with this revamped millennial wing T, as you call it, even with that new offense that Navy deploys under Drew Cronick, it is not constructed to come from behind, especially by those types of margins. I noted when they were blown out at North Texas that even though they were down 21-3 in the first quarter, they were still steadfastly running the ball. They finished that game with more than 300 rushing yards, 90 passing yards. So get a lead early, lay on them, and make Navy get out of its game.
And JB, I mentioned in my preview today, I think it's 17 points, not 14. I think Navy is more than happy to go down in the second, in the end of the half, 14-point game. Fourth quarter, 14-point game, we have the ball. When Navy gets down 17, you got to start chasing a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. Couple stats with regard to Navy. One really good on their behalf is their red zone offense. They're virtually unstoppable there. And then on the flip side, speaking of unstoppable, Navy's going to have a real difficult time stopping Notre Dame's passing game as long as the weather allows Notre Dame to pass. Now, C.J. Carr did his best passing against USC in the rain. This is going to be a little different situation. I think it's going to be windy, or it's certainly not in the 60s like it was that night.
It's definitely colder.
Yeah. We'll see if Notre Dame – I think Notre Dame can still pass the football. Navy is extremely vulnerable in that area.
Yeah, and it's a blustery night, as you note, for the throwing conditions for C.J. Carr. Also, it's another night where Notre Dame adjusts to its revamped offensive line. As you guys have so deftly noted, this needs to be a better game for Sullivan Absher. This needs to be more like Joe Otting 1.0 against USC than Joe Otting 1.2 against BC.
Yeah, that's one of the changes in the Notre Dame lineup that I've been pushing or pointing to all week. Joe Otting, Sullivan Absher against the two quality defensive tackles for Navy. And then on the other side of the ball, maybe Notre Dame's two best triple option defenders at defensive tackle, and Gabe Rubio and Donovan Heinrich. Tim, how do you see those battles? I think the one that concerns me more is Otting and Absher against Robinson and Willis, who are really, really good in the middle of that line. Although I will say, if you watch the North Texas game, you're probably thinking, why is Irish Illustrated talking about how good those tackles are? North Texas rushed for 190 yards and kind of pushed them around a little bit.
I actually think that Jared Dawson is well constructed to stop the triple option. Now, maybe on the first series, he doesn't know where everything's coming from because he hasn't played it often. Jason Onye hasn't played it in 2 years, but as you've mentioned recently, he's had 2 run stuffs against them. I don't think he's perfectly constructed for the triple option. He gets a little high at times, but I think he's seen it enough and repped it enough over 4 seasons. Obviously, he wasn't involved at all last year. Elijah Hughes might be a new animal for him, and I bring up those 3 guys because those are the 3. I don't know if Armel Mookum's going to get in there at all in this situation. You have to be able to stop the middle, and then Notre Dame's got experience around him.
Those are the 3. I would throw in Cole Mullins, but he really hasn't played a factor since Arkansas. So I don't know if he's the 4th man in, but those 3 are going to have to handle the bulk of the load.
Yeah, and as we talk about key people potentially in or out on the defensive side of the ball, Christian Gray remains a game-time decision. We'll have to pay very close attention to him in pregame warmups. We know it's been a hip issue. This is not weather conducive to loosening something up and making it feel really good to go out there and play, but they need him because as we talk about experience against an option offense and particularly this Navy offense, you don't want to have a scenario where you have to turn to Mark Zachary and Dallas Golden in this game. Those guys have splendid careers ahead of them, but this is not the right matchup for them to have to play 40 snaps each.
If they play 40 snaps each, they'll be better for it next year, not so much this year. Tim, I know one of the things that you've been talking about is how many times Notre Dame punts. What's your theory on that as it relates to how it factors into a game against Navy?
Navy doesn't force a lot of punts, about 2.5 a game. Notre Dame, you can punt against Navy when you have to, but you can't couple multiple punts against Navy with a goal-to-go stop by Navy. You can't get to a 7-play drive that takes 4 minutes and not score a touchdown and punt twice against Navy. Now, the Irish sometimes just don't punt against Navy, but in order for that to work, you got to stay on the field in 3rd and 4th and short and have the guts to get it in 4th and short. It's just been one of the weaknesses, and it's a strange situation where Notre Dame is a very good playoff quality team that has 2 weaknesses that play in the Navy's hands a little bit. Sometimes they can't convert on 3rd down, which gives the ball to Navy, and sometimes they can't stop a team on 3rd down, which also lets Navy have the ball a little bit more.
And I would quickly say a third thing that can be problematic, Notre Dame's red zone scoring and not cashing touchdowns. Yeah. And this is the Eric Schmidt game, his first career projected start for all facets of place kicking for Notre Dame. I do, however, expect Notre Dame to uncork a dynamic play, a chunk play in special teams on a return. Probably a kickoff, but I really like Notre Dame to get a chunk play with the special teams return tonight.
Rarely does this game come down to kicking. I mean, there have been instances where it have, but a lot of times it's a high-scoring game. I think it will be again tonight.
It could be a possession, forfeiting a possession because you're afraid to kick it, though, too.
Well,
there's a lot of – that's like an extra possession you don't get.
Right.
You don't move the ball.
No doubt about it. If it does come down to that, the Navy kicker, Kirkwood, is better prepared. Although prior to this year, he struggled, and it's not like he's had volume kicking this year. He's made 6 out of 7. Maybe JB, you know more about this, but Noah Burnett, if they're not going to him, there still has to be a physical issue with him. Otherwise, you'd go with the guy that's your veteran.
I think it's compounded. I think it's mental and physical, as we heard Marcus Freeman say this week. But during the bye week, he got extra medical treatment, and they really thought that was going to be the key to spur him down the stretch through the remainder of the regular season, take a reset, if all goes well, for 3 weeks, and just kicking a couple of times a week before the playoffs. And then obviously that extra medical care that he got didn't have the desired effect. And also we heard Marcus Freeman say it's mental as well at this point.
Now last year we saw Jeremiah Love break off a long touchdown run early on. Now he has a tag team partner, as Tim, as you said, 1 and 1A, or really they're both 1. So you have Jadarian Price along with it. How do you think Notre Dame's ground game fares tonight against Navy?
Although I think they're 1 and 2, I think Jadarian Price might be 1B tonight. I think Jadarian Price is going to have a day today. I think you have to scheme to stop Jeremiah Love. Price's fumble at BC has to be a reset button for him again. Look, if Jadarian Price doesn't have a good day where you can trust him inside the 20-yard line, then it becomes Jeremiah Love in the playoffs completely. I think Price has a 2-touchdown day today. I firmly believe Jeremiah Love is 1 and Jadarian Price is 2, but he's the best 2. And when he is right and when he is running the ball well, Navy really will not catch Jadarian Price when he hits that second level at full speed.
Yeah. John, final thought?
Yeah, again, it's a quick start for me. Notre Dame has to show that it's moved past the sluggish performance it gave last week, that it's ready on the offensive line. I think this is a team that's been challenged very emphatically over the course of the week. I don't expect Cooper Flanagan to play. That's one more missing body on the offensive side of the ball. Of course, we'll find out when Notre Dame releases its final depth chart, but it was trending toward him not being ready this week.
Tim, what do you have?
Nor should he play. And when you talk about Noah Burnett, when it's not good weather for a corner, it's not good weather for a kicker without confidence either for a bad hip. Cooper Flanagan, if he can make it to the Pittsburgh game, then through the season, that's 4 games. Could be Pitt, Syracuse, and Stanford. He could then play in the playoffs. And look, we've talked about Cooper Flanagan a couple times, maybe not on the air. The guy tore his Achilles in late December. He's not supposed to be back yet. So I think he's put a heck of an effort just to get back in. My last statement is, look, you get fewer possessions in this game than usual. You don't have to have that 6 or 7 like you do when Notre Dame loses these games or plays way too tight, but you're going to get fewer possessions. You got to cash in on goal to go. I truly think this has to be an Eli Raritan scores a touchdown game, and if he doesn't score a touchdown, I'll never say it again, I promise.
As Tim and I have said this all week, when Notre Dame's good, when Notre Dame's really good, They don't lose to Navy,
Right.
whether it's a good Navy team or not a good Navy team. We'll see if that holds true here tonight at Notre Dame Stadium. This has been Irish Illustrated's Instant Analysis, brought to you by the RVMH Hall of Fame and the Northern Indiana Event Center in Elkhart, Indiana.